Good morning, Rabotai. Welcome to non-breakfast and the class. Today's non-breakfast and class is sponsored and dedicated in Leilun Shmat Maurice Adis, his brother Joseph Adis, Alav Shalom. Leilun Shmat Yosef Ben Yehudit ve'Avraham, sponsored by Lenore and Maurice Adis. Also, the learning for this entire week is done by Torah Center Gold Donor John Luke Berebi, for the blessing of his wife Miriam Bat Yudit and their children Noah, Liat, and Eyal, and for the refuah shlema of Avraham ben Malka. Breakfast in the class is dedicated for the refuah shlema of Chana Bat Semefega and Eliyahu Shimon Bazal Fortuné, and all those that need a refuah shlema bikarov. We want to give a tremendous shout out to the Kehillah in Great Neck for having done an amazing event on getting together all these kosher vendors. Beautiful kosher expo together with a shiur on the importance of kashrut. What a magnificent thing to do. It was very, very special to have been able to play a part in that. Lahagdil Torah ulhadira, to try and spread the power of Torah and mitzvot. And I want to just talk about one element from that class, or something that I learned last night perhaps by watching what was going on, and maybe to try and connect that with something that we're seeing in the Megillah. Now, one of the crazy things in the Megillah is the incessant, the constant nature of Mordechai's presence for Esther. The Megillah makes a point of saying that after she went to the castle, to the palace, Mordechai is sitting there, B'sha'ar HaMelech. He sits there every single day. He comes and he waits, and he's waiting to see Ladat, to know what's going to happen with Esther HaMalka. And I think that there's a beautiful lesson. Before, sometimes when you look at something and you don't need to depart from that thing in order to learn something extremely beautiful, you see that Mordechai, whoever he was to Esther, different opinions about what he was. Either he was her husband and she was taken from him as a married woman, because the Gemara says that she was for him lebat al tekre lebayit ela al tekre lebat ela lebayit, that she was his home, she was his wife. That's one opinion. The other opinion is that she was his charge. He took care of her. She was his niece. So either scenario, we're reading about the fact that Mordechai is taking care of Esther. And the idea that when someone got taken away from Mordechai, that he rocked up every single day. And even if he couldn't see her, and even if there was nothing he could do, and even if she maybe didn't need his help, but he needed to be there. What is the language of the Megillah? To know what's going to happen to Esther. Ladat ma'ye'asela. What's going to happen to Esther HaMalka? What's going to happen to his wife or to his daughter? And I think that there's a very powerful lesson over here in the concept of showing up, but not showing up here or there, not being there for birthdays, not buying really nice gifts, not going on lavish vacations, but just showing up every single day. Mordechai Yoshev, and Mordechai sits, B'sha'ar HaMelech, he sits there every single day. Now, the reason why I'm saying this in the context of last night is because, a lot of times when people are thinking about eating kosher, they have a little bit of a problem. And what's the problem? If let's say they didn't grow up so much with kosher, and this applies to everybody on their level. So you have one guy doesn't eat kosher at all. You have another guy, he doesn't eat meat out. You have another guy, doesn't, and it's like layers and layers and layers and layers. And each one of these people has the opportunity to be a little bit stronger when it comes to kashrut. What's the guy's problem? A guy told me, Rabbi, I do everything kosher, but wine, I just can't do. Kosher wine is the worst. That's what he tells me. Now, this was about 12 or 15 years ago when I was living in England. And the game, from what I understand, I don't really know much about wine. I'm more of a whiskey or tequila guy myself. But in case you're sending me Mishloach Mano. But what's it called? So the power of the kosher market right now is such, of the kosher consumer, is that not only are kosher consumers educated in what things are supposed to be like, what level they're supposed to be on. But many of the religious kosher consumers are also have developed the ability, the wealth, to be able to afford to pay for top tier levels of service. So, man, when I was growing up, there was one kosher fancy restaurant in Manhattan. And what was it? Moshe Peking. I don't even know if any of you knows what that is. And you would drive past it, and it had shining sequins at the top hanging, right, as you pass by. Moshe Peking. Now, that was the fanciest thing that you had here. But you know why they had one fancy restaurant in Manhattan? Because how many people kept kosher, were in the city, were going to spend money on a fancy kosher meal? It's very few. So for many, many, many years, what were we able to keep open in the city? Kosher Delight. Right? That's what you're able to keep open in the city. The cheapest of the cheapest of the cheapest fast food. Okay? Now, again, we miss Kosher Delight very fondly from back in the day. I remember back in the day when I was in the Mir Yeshiva. I was not involved in this because I was already married by that point. Where all the single guys, they had such a craving for the fast food, the Kosher Delight in Israel, that they, before Purim, they all chipped in and they paid for a ticket for one guy. He flew from Israel to New York, drove straight to the city, bought an entire suitcase of Kosher Delight, packed the suitcase with the French fries, went right back to the airport, flew right back home. Right? Talk about, I don't know, he should sue. I feel like he should sue Uber Eats. He was definitely the first guy to do delivery, okay? So at the time, that's what they were able to provide. Why am I sharing this with you? What I'm sharing this with you is, my friends, sometimes what it takes in a relationship to be able to build something is accessibility. Just the fact that the person is there. They don't need to be using you. They don't need to be talking to you. You know, a lot of times when you have a parent gets a chance to be able to sit there with their teenager, they need to feel like, oh my God, I can't waste this opportunity. Everyone says you need to connect with your teenage kids, and you jump in and you're like, so what are you doing? What are your plans? Where are you going? It's like, just sitting there with the person is enough. You don't need to talk every minute. It doesn't need, I'm sorry if this is upsetting for people who like to talk nonstop. You don't need to talk non-stop. Just being there with the person. And Mordechai is sitting in the Sha'ar HaMelech. And what is he there for? Lada'at ma'eh asela. I need to be here so that I know what's going to be going on with a person that I really care about. What's the communication? Zero. What is he achieving for her? Nothing. What is he giving? Zero. Just the accessibility. My friends, whenever there's a kosher restaurant that opens up on the Upper East Side, I do my very best through whatever social media or whatever to try and let everybody know. You open up a new grocery store, when Tomer is opened, I went down, I shot a video, try to tell everyone about it. When something is right there, you have no excuse but not to use it. Okay? In this synagogue, one of the things that we wanted to do was exactly this point. So as an example, there's not a single day when there's not 1 million classes on in the shul. Why? So the guy that says, I could only do Monday, no problem, we got you. I can't do the morning, Rabbi. I can't do breakfast in the class, no problem. We also have dinner in the class. Wherever you are, the Torah is. When we started broadcasting this shiur, we wanted to make sure that whatever platform somebody was already on, you could continue listening, you could find the shiur in that place. So of course, Torah Anytime, iTorah, all the Torah websites, Torah Zoom, that's there. But it's on YouTube, and on Spotify, and on Apple Music, and on Instagram, and on Facebook, and on, everywhere. We wanted it to be accessible. Sometimes accessibility is the only reason why someone's not doing something. And if there's a kosher restaurant and it's in the 80s and the guy lives in the 60s, it's not good enough. You need another one right here. And we learned from this a tremendous lesson. That a lot of times, the challenge is not in convincing someone to do the right thing, but in making the right thing easy enough that you take the difficulty out of the decision. Once the person's in the zone, different ballgame. Unfortunately, sometimes people start coming to shul only when they have to say Kaddish. And the joke goes, like the parashiyot in Sefer Vayikra, Achremot, you have first Achremot, then you have Kedoshim, right? Then you have Emor, and they say that's how it goes in life. Achremot, after someone dies, Kedoshim, they say Kaddish, Emor, that's when they say Kaddish. So once the guy starts saying Kaddish, he comes to shul. You know what's amazing? A guy goes from never going to shul. He goes for a full year. It's now part of his routine. What happens? The day after his Kaddish is over. What do you think he's sipping Mai Tais in bed? He's already a shul guy. You have a person who decides, you know what, my grandfather passed away, I want to finish a Masechet, I want to learn something on okay, you know what happens? You learn Masechet. What happens? You shut the Masechet. Mai Tai? No. Mai Hai. Next Masechet. Let's go. You become a person who learns Torah. The power of mitzvot is such that the greatest thing you could get someone to do in order to get them to do a mitzvah is to get them to do that mitzvah. So in other words, I'll never forget, we were in Joe God's house, and he invited some people over, and not everyone in the group is a person that keeps kosher. At the time, he brought in Akimori. They were brand new. They just got to the city. And he put out all this sashimi and sushi and da-da-da-da. And all these people that always eat in Nobu, Yimach Shemo, right? In any of they eat in a non-kosher place. Very fancy. Specials. Is that the place for the sushi? I think that's the one. I think they're famous for their sushi. So the guy, all of a sudden they're eating it. They're like, oh wow, this is delicious. Where's it from? He says, I got to try that place out. He goes, and it's kosher. You should have seen these guys' faces. They're like, what? It's kosher? I can't believe it. How is it kosher? What's the name of the place? Everyone's writing down the numbers. It was unbelievable. Sometimes the challenge is making something accessible. There's a mitzvah tzitzit. One of the easiest mitzvot in the world to do. What does it take to put on tzitzit? Same thing as putting on an undershirt. Okay? They make them now, what's it called? Out of a very special material. It's like an undershirt. These are made out of wool. For Sephardim, I'm just going to put this out there on the recording. For Sephardim, in order to fulfill the mitzvah deoraita, you can only fulfill the mitzvah of the Torah with either wool or linen. They don't make linen tzitzit. So really, you only have one choice, wool. Okay? Only fulfill it with wool. If you're wearing cotton tzitzit, you're fulfilling a mitzvah midrabanan, but not from the Torah. If you're wearing the nylon ones with the holes, I don't know if you mean anything, right? It's plastic. I don't know if it's a baguette, right? But if you're wearing these clothes, midrabanan. You want to do it the right way for wool tzitzit. But you know what? No one ever is going to wear wool tzitzit until you make it so accessible that it's in their hands. People don't wear tzitzit until you do so. When I was a young boy learning in yeshiva, Rabbi Isaac Dweck came to visit his son Aaron, who was learning together with me in Edison. Anyway, we had just finished playing basketball. I came outside. I had my tzitzit on. The rabbi sees I'm wearing cotton tzitzit. He goes, Shlomo, if you know him, Abus. He goes, why are you wearing the cotton tzitzit? It's not medeoraita, honey. And he gives me the little stroke on my cheek. I said, Rabbi, I sweat like a pig. I can't handle it. And it's so, it's so itchy and it's hot. He says, so you wear it without an undershirt. I said, then it's more itchy. He says, you'll get used to it. Just try it. I had the push from him. I went out and bought my first pair of wool tzitzit when I was 18 years old. For the first 3 days, it was like I had poison ivy. Because the tzitzit that they used to make are not like this. It's like wearing a potato sack. It was scratchy and horrible. After 3 days, you just don't feel it anymore. But now they have this. So there's an amazing guy. His name is Mauricio. I don't want to say his last name. Okay? He knows who he is. He said, I'm going to sponsor tzitzit. Bring them to the boys in the shul. Ask if anybody wants. So because I have them upstairs in the shul, every once in a while I announce it. A guy walks up to me, takes a tzitzit, says, I'm going to wear it once a week, Rabbi. I'm trying. Well, I'm going to try it. What, Rabbi, I'm going to wear it every day for a few minutes. I told a guy to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit, how long you need to wear it for? 2 minutes. Right? 2 minutes. You don't want to wear it every day? No problem. When you get up in the morning, first thing in the morning, go wash your hands, put the tzitzit on, brush your teeth, do whatever you want to do. Then take it off and get dressed. You did the mitzvah midoraita, a mitzvah tzitzit. This guy has not missed a day of tzitzit since that day. And how long does he wear his tzitzit for? 4 minutes. How long it takes him to get dressed in the morning? That's accessibility. That's Mordechai Yoshev B'Sha'ar HaMelech. How do you make a mitzvah so easy that the guy can't say no? From this, my friends, we take it to everywhere else, not just kosher, not just tzitzit. You're a parent. You want your child to give you kibud avim. You want them to be respectful. Some parents, they can't help themselves, especially if they're, old school, Sephardic, where the respect was, again, you used to see the way it works. Father walks into the room in the shul, all the kids, the whole row stands up. When the grandpa walks in, the whole row and the row behind it and the row behind it stands up. And because all the Syrians marry each other, everybody is that guy's grandson somehow. All right? And as he walks in, there's a line forming. And every child and every grandchild walks up, kisses his hand, and gets the beracha. That's what it was like. So when you come from that, what do you expect from your children? What kind of level of kibud avayim you expect from your kids? Boom! Look, I can't see on the video recording. My hand is not even in the frame. That's how high it is. That's what you expect. The problem is, your kid is not from Halab, and he's not second generation Halab. He's 14th generation Halab already. He's more American than he is from Aleppo. And for him, kibud avayim means not cursing you out to your face. That's like, that's a big deal. You know what my friends talk to their parents? So my friends, you want your kid to respect you. Don't demand something that's not accessible. Come to them. You have a problem in a relationship with someone. Don't ask for a grand slam. Ask for a bunt. Ask for a walk. I can see some of the girls are looking at me, they don't know the baseball references. You're shaking your head, You're looking, no, so now, okay, you're like, I'll go with it. Okay, yes. You should bunt the home run into the end zone. Ask the minimum. I always love the pasuk. The pasuk says, Ve'ata, ma Hashem sho'el mimach. What is Hashem asking from you? Ki in lira'oto. What the pasuk means, I don't know. Forget it, not for today. But the expression of the pasuk, listen Yisrael, ma Hashem sho'el mimach. What is he asking? Give me the minimum. You don't want to go all the way kosher? No problem. Choose one element in kosher that you're not going to do. You do everything, just cut out bacon. Okay? Bacon is already in the bag. Let's go non-kosher meat. You got meat already? Cheese. Okay. Come on, a little bit. Less, just a little bit. One drop at a time. And if it's not accessible, my friends, it's not going anywhere. Because even if you really killed yourself to do it, you know how many times you're going to do it? Once, twice, 3 times. And after that, it's not there anymore. You can't do it. So look at God and say to Hashem, say to your husband, say to your wife, to your child, I know I'm not there, but look, I'm trying. I'm going to do something. When a person works that way, then they're able to achieve tremendous things because they allow and they glorify the smallest steps. One of the most powerful expressions of this, and with this I'll end. Literally my favorite example of this idea. Rabbi Freifeld ran a yeshiva called Shar Yoshev in the 5 towns. First day of the Zman, he's got all the boys fired up for the yeshiva, and he says to the boys, guys, listen, we're all going to sit and learn. We're going to learn Gemara. Don't think that you learned a couple of pages. Don't think I'm going to learn this Tosafot, this. Don't think I'm going to learn one perek. Think to yourself, we're going to finish the Masechet. You got yourself a brand new Masechet Megillah. Let's go. Let's learn all the pages, not some of the pages. You got yourself a new Bava Metzia. Let's do it. We're going to make a Siyum Masechet. And he's pumping them up until the boys are ready. I don't know, they're like, give on 3, break. I don't know what they did, right? They were so excited, right? Give me a G, right? Okay, they're all going nuts. Fantastic. Everyone leaves. There's one boy waiting behind. He comes to the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, you killed me. He says, everyone's pumped to learn the Masechet. He goes, I have a reading disability. I can barely see one word. It takes me hours and hours, days to cover, a line. They're all off to the races. But, what am I going to do? Where's my place in all of this? The rabbi says, you're asking a good question. I don't know. Let me come back to you tomorrow. I need to think about it. The next day, the rabbi calls him in his office. He says, I have the answer. And he hands him a gift-wrapped package. And the boy takes the gift, thank you very much. He says, open it. He tears off the gift wrapping, and what does he have? The rabbi had made the Masechet Baba Metzia. He had torn out all of the pages except for the first page, and then rebound the Gemara together. And he said, here is your Masechet Baba Kama. A bound book with one page in it. Go finish the Masechet, and you'll make a siyum with everybody else. The rabbi succeeded because he made the guy feel not only, here, this is accessible, but this small step is beautiful, it's important. It's the entire book, it's not just a page. When a child understands that, when a friend, a spouse understands that, when people in the community realize that one thing is already better than, doing one out of 10 is already, then you achieve a tremendous thing because you get them started on the road and they believe that growth is possible for them. May we be zocher to always be people that are encouraging others to grow, that are bringing mitzvot down, to people's level, to making it accessible. I lied. I said I was going to end with that. I'm going to give you one more. I was in my dad's shul, and this Abus grandma, she's maybe 4 feet tall. So she's like this, she's standing there, she's reaching up, she's trying to get the chumash. Anyway, so I didn't notice what was going on. She's like not in my field of vision, like so short, right? All of a sudden she taps me on my, on my back. I look down, I see it. She says, could you get me the chumash? It's on the high shelf, she couldn't reach it. It was maybe on the 3rd shelf, by the way. Okay, I reach up, I give her the chumash. And as I give her the chumash, she sees under the talit, it's me. She gets very embarrassed. She says, I'm so sorry, when I tapped you, I didn't know who it was. I can't believe I asked the rabbi to get me the thing, I can't believe she was losing her mind. I said, Sitto, relax. Isn't that the job of a rabbi? To take the Torah from a place where people can't reach it and to bring it down to where they can? This is exactly my job. But it's not just the job of a rabbi. It's the job of a parent. It's the job of a friend. You have a friend who's in a difficult situation and they can't give you the friendship that you feel you deserve. So give them something. Let them do something which is tiny. Create something for them which is accessible. And by the way, the irony is, what happens because Mordechai is trying to show this to Esther? The whole turn of the story of Purim rests on the fact that Mordechai did this. Why? Because the only reason Mordechai hears the plot to kill the king is because he's sitting at the gate of the palace. When the gate guarding the guards guarding the gate of the palace share their plan to kill the king. What makes Achashverosh honor Mordechai? What makes Haman walk in front of the horses, be degraded? What starts the whole process here is the fact that Mordechai had overheard it. And the whole mess happens because Mordechai went out of his way to make sure that someone he loved knew that he was there, present, waiting for whatever she needed. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.